Good morning. It's Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you had a good rest last night. And we're in the almost to the middle of the week here, almost, well, somewhat work week. And trust you'll have a good rest of the week. Today we're looking, as we look at the one another's this week, we saw love one another. Yesterday we saw serving one another. And today we're going to look at Galatians chapter number 6 and verse number 2. And it states this: "Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ." Now, writing the definition down for bear, looking at the bearing burden, is to lift up, to hold, to bear with, right? So as we lifting one another's burdens, in this, the verse before, it states, "Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted." So as we look at bearing, lifting up, helping under the burden of one another's burdens, we're all capable of falling. We're all capable of messing up. Can I say it that way? So as we look at one another, we're looking at bearing burdens. As we know in this day, in this time, in society, of course, with COVID and everything, some people are tremendously burdened. And finding whether it's relationship burdens, whether it's financial burdens, whether it's other aspects of life, and looking after maybe a loved one who's ill or more confined, there are a lot of burdens. And so we need to bear, to lift up. Now, as we look at this aspect, what does this require? It requires, first of all, that we're willing to share our burdens. Now, let's really get real where the rubber meets the road, as it were, applying close to the core. In our churches, in our Christian society, can I say it that way, community, we need to be willing, and if we are walking with Christ as we ought, then when someone shares their burden with us, we don't take it as something that we have hold over them or say, "Man, I didn't realize they had that many problems," or "Wow, glad my life is not like that." In true aspect, if we would look at this in a biblical fashion and form, the Christian community, the church, should be a place where we can come and know that the people who come have a desire to serve the Lord, have a desire to please Him, and that we can go to another brother or sister in Christ and say, "Hey, you know what? Man, I've had a really rough week this week, and it just, I don't know what's going on, or I feel like I'm under attack or whatever, and I just really need some encouragement. I need someone to pray with me, and here's my burden, here's my trial, here's my difficulty." We don't share for one of two reasons. Number one is fear. Fear that someone may look at us differently. Fear that someone may think of us differently, and not be willing or wanting to help us. We also don't share because of pride. Pride because we don't want to look like we're having problems. If we're a Christian, we should have everything together. That is simply not biblical. But we are to bear one. If someone comes to us with a burden, the first thing we shouldn't do is, get on that prayer chain, call people up. "Hey, guess what? We need to pray for so-and-so because of." No, but we should be willing to get on our knees with them and weep with them as they have this heavy burden, and the one who has the burden should have the confidence of knowing that when they share this burden, it's not something that's going to be told around. It's not going to be something that's going to be held over them. That we lift one another up, we encourage one another, we exhort them, and help bear that burden with them for the season that they're bearing it. And then we can rejoice when that burden has been removed from them. So as we think of bearing one another's burdens, are you the type of person who can bear another person's burden? Maybe you've not had that opportunity, or afraid to do so. We're afraid, we're going to say the wrong thing. Hey, listen, when somebody bears a burden, going to the Lord in prayer, asking the Lord to give them strength and wisdom and so on, that is not a wrong thing to do. Start with that, to bear one another's burdens. If we love, truly love, like Christ has commanded, and Christ is giving His love to other people, then we're going to be willing to serve, minister to people. But thirdly, we're going to be willing to bear the burdens that they have. We're going to either sympathize with them or empathize with them, but we're going to be willing to bear a burden. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.